Hello, and welcome to another episode of a YouTube channel show that I personally call the Popcorn King. So today we are going to be doing a review of a film called Maxxxine. I'm just trying to pronounce the triple X in Maxxxine. This is a film directed by, I'm going to use my phone. I hope you don't mind if I do. If you do, please tell me. I would love to know. Film directed by Ty West, starring Mia Goth, Kevin Bacon, and a bunch of other actors I haven't really heard of very much. So what is this film about? Mia Goth's character is an adult film star. She's in Hollywood trying to become a legitimate actress. Not that adult film isn't legitimate acting, I'm just saying a different type of actress then. And she gets into this horror film. You know, it starts off with an audition. She gets into this horror film, and it's sort of set in the 80s, and there's this serial killer out on the loose, and her story sort of interconnects with this serial killer, and yeah, it's just that's sort of what it's about. It's this thriller, it's gory, and yeah, what do I think of the film? So I've got a couple of things to say about this film, if I'm honest with you. It is gory and I enjoy the gore. There's some really fun sort of like, ooh, that's disgusting to look at, heads being blown up, penises being stomped on type of shit. And yeah, that's great to watch. It's fun, sort of gory cinema. You go to the cinema on a Thursday night or Friday night and you're like, ooh, this is disgusting. This is exactly what I want, right? But the bad thing about it is that I didn't realize it was like the third installment of a trilogy. So when I was watching it, I haven't seen the other ones. So I was like a bit like, wow, there seems to be a lot of backstory that wasn't quite communicated to me fully. So that was a bit disappointing. Also, it's trying so hard to be the 80s, and I feel like, man, so many films are trying to be the 80s recently. And I wasn't born in the 80s. I was born in the 90s, right? I'm a 90s boy. My film sort of palette is Jurassic Park, Pulp Fiction, you know, those sort of films. That's what my 90s aesthetic is, that, you know? And Shawshank Redemption, those sort of films. The the 80s aesthetic is, I don't know, a bit shitter, I guess. And I guess people from the 80s kind of have a love for that sort of shit filmmaking. Like, it's really nostalgic. It's like, yeah, it was kind of, you know, clunky and grainy and a bit rubbish, but they really had to focus on just sort of shock factor moments and close-ups and loud music and things. And I get that the nostalgia for that is quite nice. I guess the general feeling of the 80s, I guess, was different to the 90s, and it's a feeling that I don't relate with because I wasn't born in the 80s. But, you know, I feel like I kind of understand it because basically everything seems to be referencing the 80s these days. I want to get to the point in cinema where we're referencing the 90s all the time, you know? I want to hear like Nirvana in the soundtrack and Jeff Buckley. Like, I want to hear that music. Like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, people talk about, I heard this. This isn't my like words. I've heard this on another podcast, I think. People talk about superhero fatigue. I think I'm personally getting 80s throwback movies fatigue. You know, like Stranger Things, I love it. That was one of the first ones to do it, I think, that I saw, where it was really just, let's set this in the 80s. The Guest, you know, there just seems to be a lot of films that are like, hey, let's set this in the 80s. This is when, you know, this was the time, right? This was the great moment of movies. But it wasn't really. It was kind of, it was a little bit shit, in my opinion, the 80s. And yeah, I don't necessarily agree that sort of trying to make films look like and be set in the 80s is the best way to convey stories for me. Yeah, it can be interesting every now and then, but it seems to be happening all the time. And for me personally, it's getting a little bit tired now. I'm getting a little bit tired of it. And when I watch this, I'm just like, yeah, they're trying so hard to make this be like an 80s type film that they've probably achieved it, in which it's just a little bit boring, a little bit lacking of realistic sort of characters, a little bit lacking of storylines that I'm not expecting anymore. Like, these are told stories, and the ending's a bit crazy. But yeah, you know, my hands are up. I didn't see the first two installments. Maybe if I saw the first two installments, what are they called, X and then Pearl or whatever. If I saw them, maybe this one would be like amazing. Maybe like, this is a great conclusion to the trilogy. But for me, no. Obviously, I would recommend it, but that's for people who have probably seen the last two films or who were born in the 80s. But yeah, there are better films to watch.